Ցուցակման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital.
Being a doctor is one of the most honorable professions, and it's truly a privilege to be able to do this on a daily basis.
There's another aspect of medicine that we always forget about, and it's the mind and the interaction of the doctor with the patient.
When they're sick or when they're vulnerable, when they're in need, they need human kindness.
When we're treating a patient, we're treating the whole person, and that's hello, human kindness.
Սիրելի բարեկամներ, այսօրվա մեր հայդակիրն է Armenian Professional Society-ին եւ իրենց աշխատանքները հարավային Կալիֆոռնիայի մեջ։ Այսօր մեր ստուդիոյին ներկա է այդ association-ին president-ը Nerses Aposhian.
Pariyega, thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to do it in English. You wanted to...
We could do it in English. We could do it a little bit English and Armenian.
Mixture, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the history of the association.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. And I'm very proud to be representing the Armenian Professional Society here today as its president. The Armenian Professional Society began way before I was born. It began in 1958. And
your dad wasn't even born by that time.
My dad was 3 years old, so I outed his age right there. So he was 3 years old. It was 1958, so we celebrated our 60th year last year in 2018. And the whole idea of the Armenian Professional Society was to create an association of professional Armenians who would be supporting higher education, so graduate school and beyond. And that's how it began. They were active for several years, 61 years. And that's what they've done. They've donated over $300,000 in scholarships to graduate students of Armenian descent. They've also helped Armenia in several ways, especially during the earthquake. That was back in 91, I believe, 91, 92. And so they've been very involved in that aspect of the community. And it's mainly been in LA, but of course there's people that attend from other parts of California as well.
What was the main purpose when they formed this thing back in 1958? Obviously, they had some mission in mind when they created this association.
The mission, as I said, it was very simple. It was to get a group of Armenian professionals together to create fellowship amongst Armenian professionals, and at the same time raise funding and support for those who are in need of the graduate student education, and to help them further their educational journeys.
So where does the money come? Funding comes?
The funding comes from generous fundraisers, sponsors, from people that are members. The Armenian Professional Society, and for short we call it APS, it's a membership-based organization. We have several events that are also not only for members, so anybody could attend, which most of our events are. And then we have events that are for members only, so catering only to our members. Right now we have close to 200 members, and hopefully by the end of the year that number will at least hopefully double. We'll see. We'll be.
Who are these members? They're physicians, engineers.
They're physicians, engineers, lawyers, artists, dentists, businessmen, real estate folks, financial folks. It runs the gamut. So originally when APS started, it was more so, your physicians, your lawyers, your engineers.
Doctors that they have medical society.
Right.
Lawyers, they have their own association. So who you cater to?
I think we cater to all professionals, and specifically professionals who have either completed or are completing their graduate student education. Of course, if you didn't go to graduate school and you're in a profession such as real estate or finance, of course you can join the Armenian Professional Society, but the main focus is professionals beyond their college years. So again, college students can come to some of our events, but again, the main point of this is to connect professionals together. And I understand, there's the Armenian Bar Association, then there's the Armenian Doctors,
Medical Society.
The Medical Society. And I know folks from both of those organizations, and they're all great people. I think the beauty of such an organization like the Armenian Professional Society is that it allows these different professions to collaborate with one another, which in other organizations perhaps you can't because you're a bunch of lawyers or a bunch of doctors or a bunch of engineers. Again, which is great.
But you go across the board.
We go across the board.
Not just specific
absolutely.
profession.
And more recently, I think, as opposed to 1958. And this isn't knocking the founders of Armenian Professional Society, but we have been much more inclusive of the creators, of the artists, folks who have the non-traditional professional roles that are still making a very big impact in society, not only in the Armenian community, but just in general in the United States.
Can you give us some example?
I mean, filmmakers, for example, we have several people that are involved in the film and entertainment industry.
Are members of the...
Are members, yeah, absolutely. And those are people that can provide value to us because they have a very different outlook on life, on what society should be, on how culture should be dictated. And so it creates this environment of different minds, different thinking, which for me is obviously very interesting. And also for our professionals, I mean, we had an event about, I think 2 weeks ago at this time, 3 weeks ago, on a Tuesday night, we had about 200 people showing up to an event just to gather.
Just with members or outside?
Just members and non-members. It was about 50% members and 50% were non-members. Several of them became members after that event because they said, wow, we couldn't believe the quality of individuals that came and the fact that everybody was different. You know, it wasn't one track. It wasn't folks that...
not just the lawyers.
Absolutely,
or the
absolutely.
doctors.
And I think what's great about this, and what's great about this is that it's also an example to the upcoming younger generation that there are more professions out there than just your typical doctor, lawyer, engineer that as Armenians we've grown up, Pajish betgelas, pastapan betgelas. I mean, that was ingrained in my mind as well. It's a lot of my friends.
Send you to law school.
Absolutely. And again, nothing wrong with those professions. I mean, we need those professions. We absolutely value those. But there is much more to that you can do to not only provide value to yourself, but also to those around you.
When the association was formed back in 1958, you said.
Yeah.
Was the purpose the same?
The same.
The same. Hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed.
Because for a long time, there was like a vacuum, from what I understand. Can you just recently came back?
Yeah, so...
Can you tell us a little bit of history and how it started?
Absolutely. So I'll give a little bit of history about how I even found out about the organization. And I had been involved in several different Armenian organizations in high school, college, grad school, in the Armenian Student Association. I was very involved, put on a lot of programming, a lot of events. And so I got to know a lot of the members of the community. And when I graduated from college, there wasn't really an Armenian organization that I had seen that tailored to my needs, just networking with other like-minded professionals, young professionals. And so when in law school, I was a part of the Armenian Law Students Association and became involved with the Armenian Bar Association. Yeah, so a lot of the legal-related organizations, and again, great people in there that are also a part of the APS right now, the Armenian Professional Society. And so the way I found out about the Armenian Professional Society was interesting. My good friend, I'll give him a shout out, his name is Alex Martinian. He went to Stanford Graduate School of Business, and he had gone to an Ivy League out on the East Coast right before his graduate school studies. And so we had met through a mutual friend, and after he graduated, he came back down to LA where he was from. And we were sitting and we were talking about an Armenian organization, like a young professionals organization, and how we can do something. And I looked at him and I was like, come on, there's so many Armenian organizations out there. There's got to be something that fits the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, no, he's like, I want something that's, a little different, just young professionals who just want to get together, socialize.
So you're not just for the young people, right? I mean, people 50-year-old can join it also.
Absolutely. We have members ages 21 to 90. And that's what
that's the founders.
And that's the founders, yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it, is because those individuals become more so like mentors to us, more like figures that we can look up to in the business world, the political world, the legal world. We can look up to them as aspirations of where we can eventually end up. And so Alex and I, we began this Armenian American Young Professionals Facebook group. And we said, let's start low commitment and let's see who joins. And we got together a few times. And eventually, Alex's family member was one of the past presidents. His name is Rupen Berberian. And Rupen told him about this organization called the Armenian Professional Society, which was becoming a little bit inactive, and they didn't want it to just fade away. And so I recall me and Alex were in downtown and we were talking, and he said, Nerses, there's this opportunity. We could perhaps do what we're doing, but we could do it with this organization. And I said, honestly, absolutely not. There's so many organizations out there. let's just stick to what we're
Nerses,
doing.
I want you to hold that thought
because
we're going to take a short break. We're already at the end of our first segment. When we come back, we'll talk how you started and how this organization was revitalized, which is the second part of our interview.
You got it.
Սեր պայգամներ, գաշտատերմը բիդանենք և բիդի վերատանակ մեր հայդակրին. Սեր պայգամներ, այսօրվա մեր հայդակիրն է Armenian Professional Society-ն և իրենց president-ը Nerses Aposhian. Just before we took the break, you had the thought you were discussing how you got involved in this organization about 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of, it's on its way down, it was inactive.
Yeah.
So how did you decide this is the organization I need? And obviously the second question is how do you make it more active and more stable?
Sure. And so as I was saying, me and Alex were having this meeting, and he had discussed with me the opportunity to take over the Armenian Professional Society alongside with him. And I was still in the end of my law school journey, but I was about to graduate. And I told him, there's a lot of people that are already doing great things in the Armenian community. Let's leave that to them, and let's just keep doing our little get-togethers. And he said, you know what? No, and I want to do this with you. I think that you're the right person. You've been involved with the Armenian community, and you enjoy being a part of these organizations. And so the first time was just me and Alex. And then eventually I brought one of my best friends on board. He brought one of his best friends on board, and it became 5-6 of us, these 5-6 Armenian professionals, and all of us almost in different industries. And we said, I guess this is ours now, And I think the thing that attracted me to the Armenian Professional Society was its history. It had been around for, at that point, 59 years. Yeah, so they did something right, and I didn't want to just see that die. And so for me, it was, okay, how do we play a part in this revitalization, this resurrection sort of this organization? And so we said, you know what? They had a list of 1,000 or so people on the emails. They had social media. We said, what's the least we could do is let's throw an event. We did an event. Lo and behold, 150 people show up. We're surprised. We don't know 90% of the people.
Who were probably members before.
And also, I think, I give credit a lot to the team and the work that we do. I think that we do an excellent job of marketing and outreach. And I think that that's what it comes down to. I think as great as the mission is, as great as the organization is and the people involved, you need to put the word out there that this is what you're doing. This is what we do. This is why we do it. This is how we do it. And this is why we want you to come and join us. It's creating that sort of movement, to be involved in something that perhaps people didn't know about. And so for us, the first year, which was 2017, was re-educating, rebranding.
How long been inactive prior to 17?
A year and a half, 2 years.
About 2 years was inactive.
And by inactive, they were just not doing events.
It
was still an organization. It was just less out there. And I didn't even know about it at the time, to be honest with you. When I found out about it was when Alex first approached me. And so we just kept doing that. We did a few events in 2017, and we had great success. We got to about 75, 80 members. Again, wide range of ages from young professional to older professional. And we said, okay, let's do this again. And that's when I became president in 2018.
Do you have a board?
Absolutely. We have a board of 9 people, including myself. They're all incredible individuals. Again, all of them from different backgrounds, different parts of LA County even. We have folks that are in the mental health education arena, folks in finance, a lawyer, a real estate professional, marketing, communications. Again, runs the gamut of the industries, which I think makes it so awesome to be a part of.
So do you have any events you're planning?
We do. We have an event coming up on March 30th. The location is still to be determined. And the goal behind the event is to help with professional development. And so one of the things that I'm really bullish on, let's say, is LinkedIn as a platform. And so...
Yeah, because that's toward professionals as opposed to Facebook, which
absolutely,
or social media.
Absolutely. And so the event is going to be, we're going to bring in a professional from LinkedIn, an Armenian professional, who works at LinkedIn to give us kind of the tips and tricks behind LinkedIn, how to get your profile started, how to be active.
I think one of their executives is Armenian.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, yeah. And so I'm just very bullish on that platform because as a professional, young or old, I think it's a great platform to either find your next job, to post about a job and recruit people, to get your resume on there. I mean, we live in a digital age, and I think that whether you're young or older, I think that that's something that you should learn because a lot of the folks are there. There's, I mean, millions of people on this platform, and especially, and specifically even in the Armenian community. And I think it's essential for us to learn that and learn, you know, the tricks behind it. And we'll also have a professional photographer there who'll be taking headshots so you can upload it as your LinkedIn profile photo off the bat.
Now, talk about membership. Now, is the membership younger generation or older generation? More, are you approaching universities? People are graduating from law schools and business schools and different. I mean, are you doing any efforts to recruit more members?
Absolutely.
At least at the young stage when they're graduating.
Absolutely. So our membership director, Lauren Hovanesyan, is doing an excellent job at that. And our graduate student program director, Serli, or Serli, I apologize, she is also recruiting and helping recruit the graduate students and folks that are going to become graduate students or are just graduating from college. And so this year, sometime in the next, hopefully less than 2-3 weeks, we'll be launching our graduate student initiative. And the whole goal behind that will be to have ambassadors in different colleges and universities in LA who are graduate students and of Armenian descent. And so for them to become our ambassadors and recruit folks in their specific colleges and universities. And so that's something that we're going to be working on.
So you're going to colleges and universities.
Absolutely.
And trying to recruit them from graduate schools.
Absolutely, because there is really no professional organization for them after they graduate from grad school. And I think that a big part of that also is the mentorship aspect. As a former graduate student myself, and a lot of our board members and a lot of our members and a lot of our folks that come to the events, they also went to graduate school or they're planning on going to graduate school. And the beauty of having a wide range of professionals as members is that those folks can serve as guides to these folks that want to go to graduate school or perhaps are graduating from schools and need a job or need mentorship on what job to get and need an introduction. I think that's the beauty of focusing our efforts on professional networking and graduate students is that it not only allows us to build a great network of individuals, not only in LA but beyond, but also it helps with our fundraising efforts. The more people that are members, the more people that know about the Armenian Professional Society, the more funding we can raise to then support graduate students. Just last year for our 60th anniversary, we gave $21,000 in scholarships, 3,000 to 7 different individuals across the United States. I think there was 2 folks that were
So you don't have to be just in LA, you can be anywhere
absolutely not,
in the
absolutely
country.
Not. Yeah, absolutely. Especially for the graduate students. I mean, just recently we had gotten emails from a few of our past scholarship recipients.
Nerses, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll ask, how do you apply to these grants, scholarships, and your events? I mean, we want to discuss that. Սիրելի բարեկամներ, գաշտատարմը վիդարենք եւ պիտի վերադառնանք մեր հայդակրին։ Սիրելի բարեկամներ, այսօրվա մեր հայդակիրն է Armenian Professional Society-ն եւ իր president-ը Nerses Aposhian. Nerses, just before the break, you were talking about scholarship. Now, what is the criteria? How do I just need to apply? Is there an application? Is there a financial aid type thing that you have to do some background check? I mean, how does it work?
So yes and no to some of those questions. We have an application online at ArmenianProfessionalSociety.org. I don't know if it's gone live yet or not, but in the next coming months it will go live. And so there's an application process. It's pretty simple. We ask a couple of questions. We ask you to upload your resume, your transcripts, and it's not a financial need-based scholarship. It's more so merit-based scholarship.
So you have to have good grades?
It's a part of it. It's a part of it. You don't have to have good grades. I think that having good grades is one small piece of being successful or achieving some sort of success. But I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that weren't the best at school, but are doing incredible things. And I think that they deserve scholarships sometimes, and they deserve, financial aid to help them pursue a graduate student education and beyond. And so it's not a big part of it, but of course, having good grades doesn't hurt. And so once you apply, again, so the criteria is you have to be an Armenian living in the United States or are of Armenian descent, living in the United States and going to a graduate school in the United States. So if you're, a U.S. resident, but you are going to school in London, then we don't give scholarships for that. You have to be in a U.S.
You have to be in
school.
U.S.
Yeah, and our entire board and committees review the scholarships, and then we announce the winners a little earlier, but then we announce the winners at our annual gala, which is usually in October, November. Last year was in October, the year before was in November. So it's always around that time. Last year we had 7 winners. The year before I think we had 5 or 6. And again, they're all over the United States. We have folks that are going to Harvard Kennedy School of Business, School of Government. They're going to MIT Sloan Management, very big schools. Folks that generally are not even involved in the Armenian community. But what's beautiful is that when they hear about this scholarship, one of the criteria is they have to write about, their involvement in the Armenian community or, some sort of efforts that they've done to further the Armenian community's cause and efforts. And so we get all bunch of people. I mean, we had a writer last year who's now writing short stories, is writing a novel, and is inspired by the Armenian story, by the Armenian history. And I believe he lives in Florida, goes to Florida State if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me on that.
Any other success stories like that? You help a student accomplish quite a bit?
There's a bunch. There's a bunch that I perhaps don't even remember. But there's a lot of the folks that are doing just incredible things. Again, there's a young girl that goes to Harvard Kennedy, and she is about to graduate, and she wants to work on a 2020 presidential campaign as a speechwriter and a communication strategist. These are young Armenian Americans. When I say, 24, 25, 26 years old, sometimes even younger, that are doing incredible things. And I think one of the things that we're going to focus on this year is to also highlight these stories on social media so that people can see and read about it. And so you can follow us on social media. It's at Armenian Professional Society on Instagram mainly, and also we're on Facebook. And we'll be highlighting a lot of these stories because I think they serve as an inspiration to both the younger and the older Armenian community. I think even as a postgraduate student myself, when I see stories like this, I want to connect with folks like that. I want to connect with them and see what they're up to, how I can be a part of their efforts or how to help them out, even more than just financially. Perhaps making an introduction, perhaps giving them somebody to mentor. And so I think that's a big part of our efforts this year is to really expand and grow on that and show them to the community.
Do you do other mixers and get-togethers? I know you have a big gala once a year, but in between, do you do periodic events on a monthly basis that people get together just to commingle young professionals and talk about their professions and maybe meet each other, whatever?
Yeah, every other month we have a social event. So what we do is every other month we'll have a social event, and the months between we'll have a professional-based event. So we have a social events director, Daniela, and a professional events director, Andrea, who helps organize these events together. And we switch. We have mixers. We have events that are at bars, at lounges, at restaurants. And what we also do, and what's more so the membership based, is we have these events with Armenian professionals, successful Armenian professionals in their industries, finance, real estate, law, whatever it may be, engineering. And they host private dinners with members only. And I think it's been a great way to attract members to our organization because we're sitting with high profile, successful individuals, executives, exactly. And so that's another aspect to our professional events, but they're also social professional. We not only get to mingle and drink with one another, but also to hear stories from a professional who's...
Also, you make a speech there.
Absolutely. So
presentation.
we do a bunch of different things. Again, if you follow us on social media or you're on our newsletter, you'll get bi-weekly updates as to what events are coming up, where they are, and what we're doing. So they've been very well attended. We usually get anywhere from 100 to 200 people at an event.
In every event?
In almost every event, yeah. At our gala last year, we had upwards of 350 plus people. The venue wasn't too happy with us, but we thought that it would be a great idea to get everybody there. And I think that as we grow, the sky is the limit.
So your plan is to grow the association?
Ideally. Ideally, yeah.
Because you have 200 members now, so what do you plan? To be 1,000 member?
Look, if you knew me, I'm a very aspirational guy, and I like to, set goals and really go after them and meet them. My goals, beyond even my short-term goals for APS are to continue growing, continue building, continue putting on great programming, having great content for those that are involved and those that want to be involved. I think long-term, there's no reason why the Armenian Professional Society can't be national, and by that I mean having chapters in different parts of the country.
Or maybe international.
And perhaps even
international. There's Armenians everywhere.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be in the United States or in California.
Absolutely. And I think the beauty of what we're doing is that we get to collaborate with all these different organizations, whether it's ANCA, AGBU, the Birthright Armenia. I mean, we've done events with all of these organizations. We're doing an event with Orange County, the Orange County Professional Society in the summertime, and that's going to be a big event. We're going to do an event with the Armenian Museum. So it's a very great way to be collaborative with other members of the organization, and every single one of our board members has
take
that
a break.
belief.
Again, I hate to cut you off,
fine.
but let's take a short break, and we'll come back and we'll finalize your thoughts and the whole process itself. Սեր պայգամներ, գազ թաթարմա բիդարնենք և բիդի վերաթանակ մեր հայդակրին։ Սեր պայգամներ, այսօրվա մեր հայդակիրն է Armenian Professional Society-ն և իրենց աշխատանքները հարավային Կալիֆորնիա մեջ։ Nerses, I'm sorry, I have to go back to English. What is your plan for the association, how to grow it? I know you have that aspiration to grow the business into maybe a nationwide operation. Mm-hmm. I know it was limited in Southern California, mm-hmm. but what are your plans? Future plans? I
think to begin, it's to continue growing. I think, last year we grew over 300%. We raised almost $100,000 last year, and for the organization, and we'll continue to do that and probably exceed that, and continue to raise even more money to help the organization grow and also to give to scholarships. And that's the short-term goal, is to really be able to capture the audience of professionals in Los Angeles. I don't think we've done that yet. 200 people is not the amount of professionals that we have in LA.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more,
maybe 20,000 professionals.
Yeah, absolutely, and thousands have come to our event, but I still think that's not enough. I still think that we need to capture Los Angeles first. It's one of the biggest communities that we have nationwide. And I think, hopefully 4, 5, 6 years out, we start expanding the Armenian Professional Society into, cross state lines and start to do different initiatives beyond just scholarships for graduate students. I think that, our mission of fellowship amongst Armenians and supporting graduate student education is fairly broad. I think that fellowship amongst Armenians can mean several different things. It's connecting Armenians as professionals. If I meet you and you're an engineer and I'm in marketing, perhaps we can start a company together, connecting entrepreneurs and software engineers.
Putting businesses together.
Putting folks together to
ideas.
Ideas. It doesn't have to even be businesses. It could be other nonprofits. It could be other social enterprises that help further the Armenian community or other communities. I think at the end of the day, if you had to ask me why I do what I do in terms of the Armenian Professional Society.
How much time you devote to it? Besides your full-time job.
Besides my full-time job, which is about 11, 12 hours a day, I probably spend about 10, 12 hours a week on the Armenian Professional Society. And it's not, and I enjoy doing it. I mean, I would love to do it even more than that. And I think that it's not only me, it's the beauty is that we have an incredible team of people that they should be the ones sitting here because they're the much more intelligent ones than I am. And they are just putting in the work day in and day out, not only recruiting, but outreaching, marketing, advertising, getting new people to come, putting on incredible events. And at the end of the day, the thing that motivates me, that drives me, is that I get to not only lead an incredible group of leaders, every single one of these 9 board members are leaders of their own, but the goal as Armenian professionals is to also create other leaders in their own industries, right? The reason why we do professional development, why we have social mixers, why we speak to other professionals and have them come speak to us, why we get together, is to further ourselves as individuals, both personally and professionally. And I think that the main reason why the Armenian Professional Society exists is to create the next generation of leaders not only in the Armenian community, but even beyond that, whether you're in other states or other countries.
That really comes to my mind. Armenia. Do you have any presence in Armenia, or you do anything for Armenia?
Yeah, so before we came on board, they, again, I said they helped many of the different universities. There was the American University of Armenia that more recently came up, but the Yerevan State University, they had donated a lot to the different universities and colleges and supported students there and helped philanthropically. I think another goal for us this year is to become more involved with Armenia, and by doing so, we want to collaborate with other organizations that are already there. Organizations like the Pados Foundation that are doing incredible work there, organizations like the American University in Armenia that's doing incredible work. These are talks that we're already having with these organizations to see how we could collaborate with them, because they already know exactly what's going on there, and we just want to help support and further their efforts. And I think that mentorship and teaching these kids in Armenia and helping educate them, whether in Armenia or in the United States, that's again a part of our mission, is to further education and be the leaders for our country back in Armenia and also in the United States.
What is your annual budget?
We don't necessarily have a budget. We do events as they come. A lot of the events are paid events.
On an annual basis, how much money you collect?
How much money do we collect?
Yeah, from events, membership.
Anywhere from 50 to 100,000.
Okay, yeah. And how much you spend?
Not much more than not much. I mean, we spend probably $6,000.
But you give these,
and that's our cost for the events. But I think for scholarships. That's our main. I mean, the more money we raise, the more scholarships we can give out, and that's at the end of the day, that's the goal, is to raise as much money as possible to support scholarships for graduate students.
So is there an application if I want to join, let's say, I'm giving an example, if one of my audiences wants to join, how do they do? They go online?
They go online to ArmenianProfessionalSociety.org, and we have a membership application there, so they can just easily put their name, what they do, their education.
They need to be professional in order to apply?
They need to have had a college degree. Or if they haven't had a college degree, but they graduated high school and got their GED and eventually became a professional and are doing something, then they could apply as well.
What is the membership dues?
For young professionals, so anybody under the age of 35, it's $50 a year. For professionals over the age of 35, it's $95 a year.
Why higher when you're older?
We hope that as you grow older, you're making more money and therefore can give more money to this organization and to also other organizations and to give back. I think a big part of the Armenian Professional Society, and we do it as an organization, is we also are philanthropically involved in giving to other organizations that further the Armenian cause, that further education. Most recently, we gave to the Armenian American Museum, and we've also given to several different Armenian schools throughout Los Angeles County. And a lot of organizations always contact us to help them. And so that's
you have some excess money that you're giving out to others? We
have an endowment fund that the money that we raise goes to, because we're a nonprofit organization, a 501c3. And so from that nonprofit fund, we have a Helping Hands Fund, which allows us to help other organizations that are, to help support their mission.
Nerses, we're almost at the end of our show.
Yeah.
I want you to give your vision for the organization as the president of the organization. How do you want to see this organization 3 to 5 years from now?
Very simple. I just want to continue. I want to see it grow. I want it to be 10 times where it is today in terms of the number of members, in terms of the amount of money that we raise, in terms of the amount of people that we impact. That's at the end of the day, that's the goal. And also the amount of people that become leaders professionally, in different nonprofits, in their lives at home. I want people to be able to lead the Armenian community beyond just the Armenian community. I think that is the goal, is to develop leaders, both folks that are already professionals and folks that are graduate students who haven't yet ventured off into their careers, but are still looking for what's next. I think that as Armenians, we have that leadership gene. We have that gene of we want to get things done, we want to do things, we want to accomplish our goals. We have these big ideas, and there's no reason why we can't achieve it. I think that we are no better or no worse than any other group of people, And I think that if we support one another in our missions, in our visions, in our goals, I think we'll get there. And I think the beauty of the Armenian Professional Society is that it creates that opportunity, that environment for you to meet those people that can help you further your business, to help you further your aspirations. And I think that's when the Armenian community will succeed, is when we work collaboratively and get our things done. And I think that that's going to be applied in politics, it's going to be applied in healthcare, it's going to be applied in every industry. It doesn't matter. I think we will achieve ultimate greatness if we work together. And I think that is my vision of APS, of the Armenian Professional Society, is to get individuals in this community to do that, to understand that collaboration is the key to ultimate success.
Is there any type of individuals you're trying to attract and you were not able to attract so far? Or when you try to get people in, like say company CEOs or presidents, do you have any resistance? Do they pretty much like to join this organization?
They love to join. I think that a lot of executives even, they love to be a part of this, because once you get to that over 35 professional age that we've set, you have this thing of giving back, not only financially. A lot of folks, they give financially, but they also want to give their time, which I think is more valuable than money. I think that a lot of folks want to give their time as professionals, as executives, as CEOs.
That's what I do.
Exactly.
I'm giving my time.
Absolutely.
Without getting any money.
And that's why people appreciate the work you're doing, is because by giving your time, you're now nurturing.
Because time is more
individual.
valuable than money.
And I think with the time that mentors put into the younger generation, there is more money to be made if that's one of the goals that you want to achieve, is financial success. That will come. But if you are looking up to someone that's done it, the chances of getting there are probably much higher. And we've honestly had no resistance from anybody in being a part of this, by attending our events, by donating, by being mentors. I would say 100% of the individuals that we've reached out to want to somehow be a part of this organization.
Well, I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you
for being part of my show today. It was very, very insightful, and it was very, for me, it was very, to see the organization, because I just attended once, I think, an event, but I didn't know much about it.
Well, you'll come to the next one, hopefully, and the ones after that.
Well, I wish you success. I hope
so
your
much.
Organization will be nationwide, as your vision is, as well as having maybe all the Armenian professions across various industries. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Սիրելի պայգամներ, ասեվոգը պագենք մեր հայդակիրը, մեկ մաղթենք Armenian Professional Society-ին հաջողություններ իրենց աշխատանքներում մեջ, գիշեր բարի։
Հաղորդման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital